What's up? How's it going, everybody? I hope you're having a good day. I came across this video of the Critical Drinker talking about the Thunderbolts. I don't know if you've seen it yet, or if you plan on seeing it, or if you even know what it is. It's the latest Marvel movie in the cinematic universe that they've created. Yeah, I have not seen it yet. I plan to see it, but anyways, this is a really good review. I think an honest review of the movie, and the Critical Drinker always puts a good perspective on whatever he's talking about. So let's get to it. Let's do it.
Out of all the Marvel movies to come out in recent years, Thunderbolts is definitely one of them. In fact, it's probably the one I've been looking forward to the least. Not because I hate it or anything, but because I feel absolutely nothing towards it. It's the movie equivalent of an annual dental checkup. You know it's coming, but it's not like you're pumped up to get started on it or anything. And why would you be? It's just another by-the-numbers team-up movie featuring a bunch of B and C-list characters that most people can barely remember from films and TV shows most of us didn't watch, taking on a nebulous threat that's poorly explained in a series of action scenes that look like they've been done a million times before. Not exactly compelling stuff. But is it really as bad as we expected, or does Thunderbolt somehow manage to pull off a surprise win? Well, let's find out together, shall we? The movie begins with discount Black Widow, who's feeling sad and worthless because there's not much going on in her life outside of her work. And if that's not a neat encapsulation of modern feminism, frankly, I don't know what is. Anyway, after completing her latest mission to blow up a lab in Southeast Asia, she's sent by discount Selena Meyer to infiltrate a high-security vault in the middle of nowhere where an enemy agent is about to steal a bunch of classified secrets. Now, a normal person might think it's a bit suspicious that discount Selena Meyer apparently knows exactly when and where she's going to get robbed, but well, I guess discount Black Widow isn't a normal person. But when she does get there, she finds John Walker, Ghost, and Task Manager waiting for her. It turns out they've all been sent here to kill each other in a kind of circular firing squad because discount Selena Meyer is now under congressional investigation and has decided to erase all evidence of her dodgy activities, including everyone that she employs. Once they're sealed inside the vault, a self-destruct timer activates to vaporize the whole place.
Oh, geez.
Not a great plan.
Wow, it's lucky that they all happened to arrive here at the same exact time, otherwise this never would have worked. It's even more lucky that there was a 2-minute countdown to detonation, thus giving them fair warning and plenty of time to escape. It's even luckier that the power source for the sonic barrier preventing Ghost from unlocking the doors just so happens to be in the room with them.
Really?
Wow, everything's just coming up Thunderbolts right now, isn't it? So they make it out just in the nick of time, naturally, and it turns out they've got a new friend with them. This is Bob, a test subject for an experimental new program to create the Sentry, basically Marvel's answer to Superman. The longer Bob's conscious, the more his powers start to manifest until he's captured by discount Selena Meyer and brought back to New York to be unveiled to the public. Luckily though, Red Guardian shows up in a limo because he overheard discount Selena Meyer's entire plan when she was riding in his car, because I guess supervillains are happy to divulge their most intimate and damaging secrets in front of complete strangers. What, are you retarded? There's just all kinds of convenient luck happening in this movie. So the gang heads to New York to save Bob, but he goes a bit crazy and turns against everyone, so discount Selena Meyer activates a kill switch, but then he comes back to life as Angry Bob and makes a big cloud of sadness that swallows up New York City. But that's okay because discount Black Widow and the gang go into the sadness cloud and help Bob defeat Angry Bob by having a good old cry, and then everything goes back to normal and somehow they become the new Avengers.
Son of a...
I've said on various open bars that I expected Thunderbolts to be a relatively decent, by-the-numbers, and ultimately forgettable action team-up movie that would probably fail to make much of a splash at the box office. But boy, was I wrong on that one. This movie is actually surprisingly shit, and the biggest problem stemmed from the complete tonal whiplash that it gives you. On the one hand, there's actually a pretty interesting attempt to explore the impact of personal trauma, depression, failure, a loss of self-worth, and a search for meaning and fulfillment in life. There's hints of this with Yelena and the rest of the gang, broadly mirroring the trauma that haunts and ultimately threatens to overcome Bob. And holy shit, the performance by Lewis Pullman is by far the best part of this entire movie.
And apparently he's like hardly in the movie. So it's like, what is going on?
Guy is able to switch from befuddled innocence to haunted victim to a terrifying godlike entity in the space of a single scene. And if anything, I wanted to see more of this shit.
Yeah.
The problem is, the movie doesn't have time to give this stuff the narrative depth that it needs, and it ignores.
And plus, he is so powerful that, I mean, how are they going to defeat him, like, in a normal battle? They would not be able to. He is, like, I think, even stronger than Superman. So, come on. There's no way they could take on Sentry 101.
Most of the struggles of the rest of the team altogether. Why? Because we need to make more time for Marvel humor, protracted action scenes, pointless exposition, references to stuff that most people didn't even watch, and more Marvel humor. And this brings me on to by far the biggest problem with Thunderbolts. It's a tiny kernel of an interesting and serious idea buried under a mountain of all the usual shit that blights Marvel movies. It's like they heard all of the memes about the formulaic nature of their films, and instead of correcting themselves to counter it, they decided to lean even harder into it out of pure fucking spite. Not since She-Hulk have I watched a Marvel project trying so desperately hard to be funny and failing so spectacularly. The character development in this movie is completely fucked. Ghost is a character that I barely even remember from Ant-Man 2, so this would have been a perfect time to give her some actual personality and a narrative arc. Instead, she does almost nothing throughout the whole movie. Her powers are nerfed whenever they'd be inconvenient to the plot, which is most of the time, to be fair, and I was left wondering why she's even in the film. John Walker exists for no other reason than to be wrong about everything and constantly mocked and belittled by the strong female characters around him. You know, like basically every other Marvel movie since Endgame. Red Guardian's still an obnoxiously loud moron, proving the point that just shouting stuff really loud isn't a substitute for humour. Bucky's here because they couldn't think of anything else to do with his character, and as for Ass Blaster, well, all I'll say is don't get too attached to her.
Oh no! What happened?
And for the life of me, I'll never understand why Marvel keep trying to make Yelena a thing. I mean, what exactly are we supposed to find appealing about this character? She's basically a shorter, dumpier, less appealing version of Black Widow with a shitty Russian accent and played by a disinterested Florence Pugh who practically faxes in her performance. She is way better than movies like this, and she knows it.
We're better than you, and we know it.
You know, there's a phenomenon here in my country that we call the Scottish cringe, a kind of inherited cultural embarrassment that we all feel because we all know we're a bit shit these days. We never say it out loud and we don't really admit it even to ourselves, but deep down we all feel it. And the reason I bring this up is that, well, Thunderbolts is a perfect example of what I hereby dub the Marvel cringe. Watching this movie, I was struck by this weird feeling of embarrassment, not just for the people making slop like this, but for me as the audience. Watching a bunch of aging actors dressed up in their goofy outfits, reciting the hackneyed dialogue and the lame jokes, the physics-defying action scenes and the overdramatic villains. It's like watching a teenager who's still playing with action figures, or a woman in her 30s still listening to Taylor Swift songs, or a middle-aged man still going to nightclubs. All of them stunted, unable or unwilling to accept that the world around them is changing and it's time to move on now. The MCU practically defined the cinematic zeitgeist of the 2010s, and love it or hate it, you can't deny the enormous success it had, but that was a long time ago now. Times have changed and the zeitgeist has moved on, and movies like Thunderbolts now feel like dated, unfashionable holdovers from a different era, from a franchise that can't or won't accept that it just isn't that relevant anymore. A bottom of the barrel kind of movie, made to fill a release slot and keep the MCU grinding forward until the inevitable reboot comes along to start the whole process over again, scraping together whatever crap happened to be available and throwing it against the wall in the vain hopes that something, anything would stick. Well, I suspect that this one won't, making 2 failures in a row for Marvel this year.
And they have, like, what, the next 10 to 20 years kind of mapped out? So I think they need to kind of go back to the boards and reformulate what they're doing here if they want to keep the cinematic universe going strong.
Now it all hangs on Fantastic Four, and honestly, I wouldn't want to put odds on that movie succeeding either. As for Thunderbolts, I recommend you save your time and money and go do something better. Anyway, that's all I've got for today.
That is funny.
Go away now.
All right, my friends, I hope you enjoyed that review of the Thunderbolts. I honestly, he kind of persuaded me. Maybe I shouldn't go see it. I don't know. Let me know if you're still planning on seeing it after watching this. Jeez. All right, listen, if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, share, slap that bell around, boom, boom, and tell your friends about Idle Hands and what we're doing here. And until the next episode, stay safe, know that you're loved and appreciated. And of course, until we meet again, have a great day.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.